So you're best known for your this is what
PIL.
PIL, yes.
Yeah, public interest litigation.
Yes.
Yes.
And that was what Ryan sir had mentioned in class.
Yeah.
So could you share your process of how you went about with it with the Mumbai High Court?
Yeah, actually, it's now, this was in 2004. And now when I look back, I say I was much ahead of time. Because, now I see people who are talking about the obnoxious content which is coming on
Yeah.
the OTT
OTT platforms,
platforms, and,
yes.
and I was talking about this 20 years ago. And at that time, people made fun of me and they called me moral police and they said she's frustrated and God knows whatever they could say, they said. So coming back to your question, the process, so it's like television in the 2000s. In fact, the process started with the opening of our economy. So all the foreign channels came in, and the television was the only medium. See, today's generation may not understand because they're so used to the OTT. But earlier, television was the only medium of entertainment other than the film theaters, where we went and we watched the films. So, because television was unregulated, it was so happening that a film which you go to a theater and you watch it as an adult film in a closed theater, only 18 and above allowed, and that too is coming through the screening by the censor board. So, what an 18-year and above will watch in a closed theater is decided by a film certification board. But what will be watched by a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old sitting inside their house on a television was not decided or screened by anybody.
So it's easy, like a child can easily
Yeah,
navigate through the TV.
correct. And operating a television is so easy. So, see, again, with today's thing, you have OTT platforms and then you select your OTT platform. At that time, it was just you switch on the TV
Yeah,
and you start surfing channels, and from one channel, you're jumping into another because it was all coming through that cable operator.
yeah.
Now, my simple and very logical question was that what I can watch as an adult in a theater is decided by a board. But what will be telecasted inside our homes is not decided by anybody. So, what the channels started doing, especially the foreign channels, Star, HBO, ZMGM, and many of the South Indian channels, what they started doing was the film which was censored and shown in the theaters, they started showing the uncensored version on television with abundance of violence, abundance of nudity, abundance of sex, abundance of obscenity. I was really appalling. I couldn't handle it in the sense, it's not, I couldn't watch it. Every time I saw something obnoxious on the television, and I would think, oh my God, a 5-year-old also must be watching the same. An 8-year-old also must be watching the same. A 14-year-old is also watching the same. And how exactly must they be absorbing it? What will be the learning? And what will be their reaction? Then I started going through the psychological studies. See, in our country, unfortunately, we haven't conducted much studies, but there are studies galore available, from the US and UK and other countries. And everywhere they're establishing a link between the violent behavior of children with the television content and the video games which they play. So it obviously says that there is a learning taking place. So, frankly speaking, I exactly did not know what to do. So the first thing I started doing was I went to the censor board. Now it is called the Central Board of Film Certification. Earlier it was the Censor Board of Film Certification. So they said that no, we have no jurisdiction over the television. So we can only decide the films which are coming in the theater, and we are doing our job. Point taken. Then I went to different NGOs, women's rights organizations and child rights organizations, and for them, either it was not a matter of concern or they were concerned, but they said there's nothing that we can do about it. So then I went and met the local politicians, the corporators and the MLAs, and even they said, no, what you're saying is absolutely right, but there are no regulations, so and our hands are tied, we cannot do anything. Then I went to the police, every possible authority which could have done something about it, and they should have done something about it. Then I went to the police. I went to the police commissioner, and I still remember Mr. A.N. Roy was the police commissioner at that time of Mumbai. And fortunately, my college is quite close by to his office. So I went after college there. I reached there about I think um, 3 o'clock or so, 3:30 or 4 o'clock. And I said, I want to meet him. So they said, in what regard? So I wrote that about the adult content telecast on television. So he took the chit inside. Then he said that sir is very busy today. So, you can come some other time. I said, no, I've already come thrice.
Mm-hmm.
And today I want to meet him and go. Believe it or not, I was there till 8:30 in the night sitting
My
outside his
God.
office because I had decided I am not going till I get to converse with this man. So at 8:30, quarter to 9, when he came out and he said, "Oh my God, you're still waiting?" I said, "Yes, because I wanted to meet you." So he said that, "Ma'am, what you're talking about, I completely understand. Point taken. But if I take any action here, it is like opening the Pandora's box."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Open it. What is stopping you? You are the police commissioner. Open it." He said, "No, it's not that simple, ma'am. And frankly speaking, there is nothing much that I can do." So I was so disappointed. I was quite angry. And I also felt very helpless that these are the people who are kind of the torch bearers of our civil rights and liberties, and they are either our political representatives or government representatives or NGOs, and all of them are saying we cannot do anything. What kind of a monster have we actually created? So then I went to meet this very well-known lawyer, Mr. Mukesh Vashi. His father was also very well known for doing public interest litigation. So when I went to meet him, in all honesty, he didn't take me seriously. And he said that, so what? Don't switch on the television if you have a problem. I said, yeah, I won't switch it on, but the 5-year-old is switching it on.
Yeah.
And he's watching what he's not supposed to watch. And think logically, Mr. Vashi, as an adult, what you watch in the theater is screened by someone, but what
Mm-hmm.
your child or your neighbor's child must be watching is not screened by anybody. How good is that? So then he started paying attention to what I was saying. And then he said that, no, but you cannot just go to the court like this. Have you been to this authority? Yes. Have you been here? Yes. Have you been there? Yes. Have you been there? Yes. And everywhere I had written letters or I had taken appointments. And, you met the police commissioner, so the chit which you have signed, and,
Yeah.
so then he was actually impressed.
Mm-hmm.
He said, oh, the lady has done her job. She knows what she's talking about. So I said, now the only option is public interest litigation.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, yes, I'll do it. And that's how we reached Bombay High Court. And in the court also, initially they tried to say that, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? But then we had attached
Mm-hmm.
all the authorities and people we met, and, we had talked and the responses. So then the court also took me seriously. But believe it or not, initially, even after the court matter started, nobody took me seriously. And I think that was an advantage for me, because by the time people could get up and gear up,
Mm-hmm.
I was 10 steps ahead of them.
Yeah.
So that went in my favor. People not taking me seriously completely went in my favor. So this was the beginning.
So when you went around to the Bombay High Court, were there any social and legal challenges that you faced? Because you were going against big companies.
Plenty of challenges. As I said that initially, nobody took me seriously. So they just thought that, oh, some attention seeking behavior and some kind of propaganda. And media started writing, oh, she has a political agenda, she wants to be a political face, and therefore she's doing this. They would interview me and tell me that, do you want to get into politics? And I said, no, I don't want to. And they said that, so why are you doing this? So that was another, I found it very funny
Mm-hmm.
that a media reporter is asking me, are not ready to take your social concern seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is looking at what is her hidden agenda. What is her hidden agenda? And I had no hidden agenda. Nothing. It was purely my concern for children and for the sexual objectification of women. These were the two main concerns of mine. So, they used to say that, oh, you have a political agenda, or you want to join a political party, and therefore you're doing it. So then later on, I started saying, even if it is so, what's wrong in that?
Exactly.
There's no harm in doing a genuine public service and joining politics. That's what everybody should do. So, media gave very, very negative publicity to me. But again, that went in my favor because I had no backing. I was not part of an NGO. I was not part of any organization. It was purely me and my lawyer, two of us standing in the court versus 13 top best legal minds of our city and some of them of our country also. Because there were 12 channels and the government of India. All of them were my respondents.
Oh my
So every top-notch legal expert was there standing representing one channel or the other. And then we had the Advocate General representing Government of Maharashtra because the Police Commissioner was also a respondent. Then we had the Solicitor General because INB Ministry was Information Broadcasting Ministry was a respondent, so he was representing them. So it used to be all versus one. Socially, a lot of name calling, a lot of articles written about me just to pull me down, mocking me, making fun of me, and saying that God knows what she's teaching her students, and direct attacks, completely direct attacks. And I didn't attack anybody personally.
God.
You know, I had a very simple logical question that you go through the information broadcasting rules. It is not permissible. How is it that you're showing? And believe it or not, when the debate started in the argument started in the court, then we get to know that we had more than 100 channels and the government had not put their uplinking and downlinking laws in place. You know, so the court was shocked. And they said that what kind of a ministry are you where you have allowed anybody and everybody to telecast whatever they want to without having your uplinking and downlinking laws in place? Make them, make the laws. So then gradually the court's orders, step by step, they started addressing the questions which I had raised. And then, the interim orders, it went on for 4 long years. Okay. And for me, I was so sure that it's an open and shut case because here you have the law on your side, here you have the evidence of violation. So, kya hoga? Within a month, I should get my final order, but 4 years it went on. So then I told myself that, I shouldn't be surprised because we are a country where the seated prime minister gets assassinated in her own house, and the one who assassinated her, their case also went on for 4 long years. So, you need to be patient. So, I got very good outcome of the thing, but when you talk about the social pressure, a lot of pressure, people trying to target you personally, they comment on your family, they comment on your upbringing, they comment on your motive, your intention. And as luck would have it, by the time we are reaching 2003, 4, Tata had started talking about common dish antenna, you know. So then they started saying that, oh, she's a stooge of Tata. Tata wants to destroy the cable operators and therefore they have put her. I said, oh my goodness, I mean, they can be good script writers for a film, thriller, or thriller suspense film.
For drama.
Yeah, exactly. I had nothing to do with Tata. I had no clue about what a dish antenna is, but that's what happened. So, yeah, it was a very challenging struggle, but I will, in the same breath, say that if there were 10 people pulling my legs and pulling me down, there were 20 people who unconditionally came to support me. I didn't know them. I had no connection. They just read about me in the media and they started contacting me. And yes, oh my God. They got, I mean, it must have been a big trouble for them. I used to get such huge piles of letters, postcards and letters, appreciation. Some of them were against me, but most of them were appreciating what I was doing. So it was, good and bad, both experience. I cherish the good experiences and I take the bad experiences as my learning. It made me more mature how one can deal with these public challenges. It was a great learning.
So, with this outcome that you got of so many years, do you now think of the future of OTT platforms? Do you think they've incorporated all of this in?
It's become worse. It's become worse. And it's not that we are not trying to draw the attention of the government. See, again, as I said, we need to go step by step. You cannot directly go to the court and you don't expect an outcome immediately.
Yeah.
So it's not only me, there are so many other people now who are objecting to the OTT content, and they've been writing to the ministry, and they've been writing to the government and to the OTT platforms also, that don't go to such an extent where you're not palatable at all for a family viewing. So let's see. Things take time, so this also will take time to get settled. Yeah. So giving them free surgery, and his point was that however rich a person is, generally these things happen in the lower economic strata or lower income group, but it happens in the upper income groups as well. So his thing was that undergoing some 30, 40, 50, 60 surgeries, it is very expensive. So he gave a suggestion that like how you have the BPL card, below poverty line cards, similarly the acid attack survivor should also be given a card whereby whichever hospital they go to, they should have access to free medical treatment. Here before, I mean, we were trying at the lawmakers' side. We were trying to, talk to the lawmakers and pass a law in the parliament. At the same time, there was a PIL filed in the Supreme Court by Lakshmi from Bangalore. She herself was an acid attack survivor, and that's where the court also granted, the Supreme Court also granted that no, they should be given free of cost surgery even in the private hospitals. And the fourth area, in these three areas, we could make a mark, we could bring a change, but the fourth area, we have not yet been able to do anything, and that is regulating the sale of acid. And you won't believe people came with such lame arguments saying that, oh, you are saying that acid should not be sold because people are using it to, using it as a weapon. So then car batteries also should not be allowed because you can use the car battery also. Also, for that matter, you can use a kitchen knife also. You know, but that doesn't mean that you make it accessible. You need to have some regulation. And if you're regulating, we're not saying stop acid sale. At no point did we say, because see, we need acid in the industry. Dyeing industry needs it. Okay, jewelry making industry needs it. It's a very important. But when you are going and buying it, at least it should not be available in a grocery shop. It is something which is fatal, which is dangerous. So how can it be made so easily accessible? And what we suggested was that just like how you give license to carry a weapon in our country, in India, we have very strict rules with regard to possessing license for any weapon. So similarly, even if it is a person who's using acid for industry, whoever comes to buy acid, first of all, it should not be available in a grocery shop. There should be designated shops. There, the person must carry his identification. It should be registered. So and so person on so and so date came, purchased this many quantity of acid for this purpose. He must show the license of the industry or whatever plant he is working at. His identification, Aadhaar or something should be registered there. This will, by default, first of all, regulate the sale. It will not be easily accessible. The one who is having any ulterior motive will also be scared that, array, my documents are with the seller, and the police can anytime come and grab me, and it will create awareness also. But this is one area where we could not make much changes. But as far as making the law stringent is concerned, it took me and Dr. Gupta almost 2.5 years running around from Mumbai to Delhi, Delhi to Mumbai, talking to Women and Child Development Minister, talking to the bureaucrats, talking to the Law Commission, talking to the parliamentary committees, talking to the different MPs to just, create an environment, supportive environment. And finally, the law, which was a bailable offense, has now become a non-bailable offense. And they added a new provision in the in Indian Penal Code where it clearly says that using acid or any such chemical to cause bodily harm is a non-bailable offense. So the minimum punishment is 10 years of imprisonment, and the perpetrator will have to pay anything between 5 to 8 lakh rupees to the victim.
Mm.
And depending upon the severity of the injury, the court can give minimum 10 years to 14 years and death penalty also.
Oh God.
Okay, so this definitely has helped.
Yeah.
The number of acid throwing cases have definitely gone down.
Mm-hmm.
And both of us, me, Dr. Gupta, we feel very proud that we could make it. It took a lot of personal time, money, energy, because there was no one sponsoring our air tickets. There was no one sponsoring our stay here and there. No, it was he was using for himself. I was using my money for my travel. But at least we could make a positive change
Yeah.
and a permanent change.
Yeah.
So making the new law, making it more stringent, then giving them reservation under disability quota and free medical treatment. I am very proud that I was part of this journey and I could make such a good contribution as far as social welfare. And as I said, 95% of the victims of acid attack are women. So it's kind of protecting the women's welfare also.
So have you had any like survivor come to you personally, or a group or a community come to you personally thanking you about this? Have you
No,
had any change?
it's no. See, there is a difference
Hmm.
between people who are politicians, so they take credit even for something which they have not done. People like us, if the media writes about us, ठीक है.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's not to get a medal or some recognition. It is something which you felt very strongly about, and you knew that okay, I can do it, and I did it.
Yeah.
It's
You
it's
did
as
it.
simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of recognition, you've gotten lots of honors and awards. One such award is the Outstanding Woman of Mumbai City.
Yeah.
You got it from the
The
mayor of the
mayor of
city.
the city.
Very like amazing. And have you used that recognition or that honor anywhere to like? Do you think that will inspire more women to advocate for more social justice around the world?
Uh, Rather than talking about the awards or recognitions, I talk about one simple thing that never tell yourself that I can't do it. One person can also be a force. And I give them my example. That it's not that I come from a very rich family. It's not that I'm some CEO of a multinational company having a very good pay package. Teachers are paid the least. So, and single handedly taking up issues and taking to a logical conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
See, with all due respect to the work the NGOs do, very often it so happens that it's like, okay, the government has given them a project. The work will go on as long as the project money lasts. You may be in the middle of that journey, but the government stops paying, it's not funding, and then people say, "Acha, fund ruk gaya." Now there is no fund, so they put aside that
Mm-hmm.
particular task which they were so passionately working on. So the question is that what exactly was your force? Was it the fund money? Was it you strongly feeling about a cause? What exactly motivated you? Now, here I do understand that you need money,
Yeah.
and especially when you're working at a large scale. But uh, if it comes to inspiring others, I tell them that with bare minimum money,
Mm-hmm.
it's just your resolve to do something and the confidence, the faith in your own self.
Mm-hmm.
That is what helped me do whatever I have. So, and then people give you a lot of support. But when I was fighting my PIL, the public interest litigation, there were many people who came and who said that it's very expensive to fight legal cases. So we are ready to give you financial support. But I never accepted anything from anyone for two reasons. One, obviously there was a lot of expenditure, but the biggest chunk of money which goes in the is the lawyer's fees. Unfortunately, Mr. Vashi did not take a single penny from me because he was so convinced with the cause which I had taken up. And he saw merit in the case. He never ever, for 4 years, he never took a single penny from me. So, that was a huge savior. Secondly, whatever other expenditures were there, whether it was to go and meet people, even for this matter, going to Delhi, meeting the parliamentarians, going and talking to people. There's no one who's funding you. You're funding it yourself. So people, in all honesty, they said that let us pay for your air ticket or for your stay or for travel. But I never took anything for the simple reason that tomorrow nobody should turn and tell me that, oh, it was a money making business for, because you may be doing everything perfectly honestly. One step wrong and everything goes down the drain because people always remember the negative.
Yeah.
So, as I said, people came forward and they said that no, in all sincerity, and they were genuine people. It's not that they had some ulterior motive. They were genuine people. But I said that no, as long as I'm able to sustain, I will. If I need help, I'll come to you.
Okay.
So very politely, I refused the help they were giving. I got other type of help also.
Which was?
I won't name the channel, but when the court said that no, if you want to create some guidelines, so you sit with the lawyers, the channel's representatives, and prepare a plan and then present it to the court. So me, my lawyer, and the representatives from the channel. So one of the channels in the meeting openly said that whatever the cost, we are ready to bear, withdraw the PIL.
Oh.
Openly. Okay. Another very well-known, very well-established newspaper. Again, I'm not naming it. So they also used to be my respondent for a number of reasons. So one day I get a call from them and they said that I think this I have not mentioned in any of my interviews. I was suddenly remembered, so I'm telling you. So suddenly I get a call that some very senior person from the media house would like to meet you. That's okay, fine. I'll come. Because many people used to meet, discuss things, whether they're on your side, against you, it's all right. I was open to converse, I was open to discuss, I was open to take ideas. So I go there and I just went, ऐसे college से हो गया उसके बाद. So it was a very hoity-toity crowd with all suited, booted people and very formal environment. And I was wondering, कि हो क्या रहा है? I mean, what is this? And they had just told me that this person wants to meet you. So it should be a meeting in the office. So they had a boardroom kind of set up and everybody sitting there. And then they started with, ma'am, we just appreciate the kind of work you're doing and excellent work and a single woman army and all that. I'm just listening. I was like, come to the point. Why have you called me here? And why all this tamasha? Why so many people here? Such a formal environment and all. And imagine they were part of my respondents, and I had told my lawyer. And I got a call from there, and they are wanting a meeting with me. Should I go? He said, "Yeah, yeah, no harm. You should not behave as if you are averse to anyone. They want to talk to you. Go and talk." So I knew that. I knew that there's nothing wrong in going and talking to them. And then they tell me that we are so impressed with your work that we have a foundation, and we also want to take up many public welfare issues. And now, because you're a very well known face in the media, so let's do one thing. We will take up a public cause and we will have our lawyers team. We will pay for everything. But you just become the person who's filing the public interest litigation. All right?
Oh.
And I was like, what? They're saying, yeah, because when you go to the court, it's a different thing and your issues are genuine. So you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to worry about anything. But you just become the face of the public interest litigation. Now, I understood that it was a trap for me.
Yeah.
If I accepted, next day they will carry a front page item that, oh, she's only hungry for publicity. And here we made this offer and she grabbed it and all. And now my thing was that if I react very aggressively, it won't look good because they're very delicately handling it. So I just told them that thank you very much for the offer and I appreciate your concern for social matter. I have a problem. When I take a matter to the court, I select my lawyer. I select the topic also which I want to fight for, and I decide what will be written in my PI. My lawyer doesn't decide. We sit. I only take his legal advice, rest everything I do on my own. So if you have your own plans and your own issues, I cannot become a face of it. So sorry. And I left from there. But then I realized that how dangerous can people get? You know, how dangerous this whole thing was. And thankfully, I had the common sense to sense what was happening. Otherwise, somebody will get all swayed in that environment which they created, and so many praises, and you are the face, and people trust you, and this, and you fight our cases. Why should I? I'm not a lawyer. I told them that it's not my profession. I cannot do it. So I only take issues which I'm very convinced about. I select my lawyer. I tell my lawyer what is to be written. So I cannot work like. So when you set challenges, you face these kind of challenges also. Yeah.
So right now, currently, is there any pressing issue or concern that you would like to take up, or would you like think of taking up in India right
See,
now?
actually there are many issues, but because I've worked so many for such a long time on the media and the impact of media, the OTT platforms definitely are a concern, and we've started the process, of first
Fast.
registering the complaints, and telling the Information Broadcasting Ministry that you need some kind of regulation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a major concern for me. Actually, there are so many concerns, but I think it's a trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Something just triggers sometime, and you feel so strongly about that particular issue that you say, now I can't wait. I must do something. This is OTT platforms is really a very serious problem.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing which I feel very strongly about, and especially because I am surrounded by young minds and young people. It's been 27 years of teaching in the college. Uh, the attraction of the students of going to the West,
Ah.
you know, uh, that's something which is a very serious concern. See, we are a very young country,
Mm-hmm.
and if our young brains don't stay here, if they are all going to USA and UK and Australia and Canada, these are their favorite destinations. All right, who's going to manage this country? Where will we get our scientists from? Where will I get our teachers from? Because the entire cream is going out. So,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, in my college, when the students ask for a letter of recommendation, I am very, very selective about it. I just don't give it because I know when they go, they don't come back. And till your graduation, education is very, very affordable. The amount of money which the students pay to fill the visa form, in that same amount, they are doing 1 year of their graduation. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the difference. So you are getting wonderful base. You're studying here at a very cheap cost, and then just to do your masters, you're going abroad, and then you don't want to come back. And I know of students from my college and from other colleges also where earlier it was very easy to repay your education loan because they were very easily absorbed in the systems abroad. Now they're not doing it. So they're doing odd jobs here and there just to repay the education loan and living in very miserable conditions. And my point is, apne ghar aao, raja ban ke raho. You know, why are you living there like a pauper? And where is it going to lead you? Where is it going to take you? Why? So, see, for example, some of them they get full scholarship. Fine. But the ones who are paying from their pocket, they are paying 1 crore rupees for a 2 year, 1.5 year masters.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you spending that kind of money? So that's my major concern. But this cannot be done at a legal level, but it's more of creating awareness. But social issue, yeah, the OTT platform,
OTT
yeah,
platforms, definitely.
yeah.
So you've spoken a lot about being a professor at St. Xavier. You have your own students who are in your department and in your classes. So have you taken up any kind of initiative with them? Like
Hmm.
have you mixed up their syllabus with real world activism? Have you tried
Yeah, of
doing anything?
course. Not more so with activism. One thing I always made sure is I never talked about myself in the class.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, because I don't want anybody telling me that, oh, she's using the classroom as a platform to promote herself. If they read something about me in the media, if they read my interview somewhere, if they watch my interview somewhere, and if they come in the class and discuss it.
Mhm.
If it is just one student, I say after the class we can discuss it. But if as a class they raise an issue, then I discuss, but very legally, very
Yeah.
technically. Um, More than activism, I always tell my students that you should always plan to contribute positively in the society. It's very easy to complain.
Mhm.
You know, in the class also, very often they say, government is corrupt, politicians are corrupt, this machinery is not working, that is not working, they're doing illegal things. I just ask them a simple question. How many of you consume alcohol? Very, very basic question. I said, don't even raise your hands. I know. You just answer it to yourself. How many of you are consuming alcohol? And they're all, even in TY, they are 20 years. What is the legal age to consume alcohol in Maharashtra? 25 years. Are you doing something legal or illegal? I said, no, no, answer me. You know? So if you as a student are doing something illegal, what right do you have to tell a politician he's doing something illegal, he's doing illegal, that is doing illegal? You and me make the society. Third person doesn't make it.
Yeah.
What you are doing, that is what society is doing. What I am doing, that is what the society is doing. So stop complaining.
Mhm.
First correct yourself. How many of you pay the havaldar when you're caught at the red light? Isn't that corruption?
Mhm.
So why then you're talking about the scam? This is how it begins. So your contribution, you're contributing in making the society more corrupt, making the system more corrupt.
Yeah.
So please remember, and this I always tell them, that you want to bring in the change, first you need to change yourself.
Mhm.
Look at your own behavior. You are the society. And another thing I always tell them is that if not anything else, be a good human being. That itself will solve so many problems. If every single person of this country says, I am going to be a good human being and I will do whatever I am supposed to do, whatever is expected of me, where is the problem? Everything will fall in place. So rather than talking about activism per se, I try to bring it down to their level.
Mhm.
And then obviously the sky is the limit when you want to do something very concrete. Another thing which as a teacher, I always ensure doing is what they call experiential learning. A high tech word, I learned it very recently, but I used to do it forever. So now
I
in
just
the,
recently learned
yeah,
a term for it.
now I got to know, somebody told me that, ma'am, what you're doing, another colleague of mine told, ma'am, what you're doing is experiential learning. And the college gets a lot of points for it, when they
Mhm.
assess the college.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
experiential learning is given a lot of credits when you're assessing the overall performance
Mhm.
of the college. So what I do is taking them to the field
Oh.
and giving them first-hand experience, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that for many of them, it's a life-changing experience. And I think that is what education is. Just reading the books is not
Yeah,
education.
definitely.
Experiencing it
Mhm.
and then forming your opinion. I also tell them in the class that don't blindly believe what I am saying. Go and double check. Okay? Not because I'm telling them a lie, but I don't want to become a blind follower of anything.
Mhm.
What is empowerment? This is empowerment. Empower yourself. Get more knowledge. Check what I am saying standing here in the class. And then you will know what the reality is. So here, I'm taking little more time, but I want to give this example when I say experiential learning. I teach women's rights
Mhm.
in their third year BA. We have a paper where we talk about women's rights and children's rights and Dalit right and tribal right, etc. So a perpetual discussion which always takes place is about prostitution.
Okay.
And the very typical, uh, you know, what do you say, very cliched debate. Oh, let the woman decide what she wants to do and what's the harm in prostitution. It is the oldest profession in the world. वो सारे expected dialogues. Now I know what is coming next.
Yeah.
So when they say, ma'am, Prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. I said being a thug is also the oldest profession in the world. Should you legalize it? Should you say it's okay to be a thug because it is the oldest profession? Okay. Another thing, when you talk about in India, when you talk about legalizing prostitution, the law says that any woman who is 18 years and above can sell sex. It's allowed. Then what is not allowed? A person who becomes her agent,
Mm.
who's getting her clients and then saying, Acha, you're getting 100 rupees, I'll take 40 rupees of that because I got you the client. That is not allowed. Because that amounts to sexual exploitation of the woman. So if she's getting 100 rupees, she's supposed to pocket all the 100 rupees. Okay? Soliciting is not allowed. Advertising is not allowed. So I said, then what else do you want? You want a brothel in your next flat? What do you want? Next to outside St. Xavier's College, you want hoardings of prostitutes available? You need to draw a line somewhere. Okay? And then for many years I did it. Now I don't do it anymore because now the red light area also has shifted. So in South Mumbai, there is a very infamous place called Kamathipura. Yeah, I think Gangubai,
Gangubai
that film
Kathiawadi,
also it
oh,
is shown.
yeah.
So there is a NGO which works there, and I knew because I'm into this field, so I know many NGOs, I know many other social activists and all. So when these debates started becoming more and more intense in the class, and they are not ready to understand what you're saying, they've just blocked themselves. No, because the prostitutes in Sonagachi came to demanding that Sonagachi is a very infamous red light area of Calcutta, one of the biggest. So, when they come out and they say that no, legalize it, and they give very many excuses, we will get better medical facilities and, police will not trouble us and all. So, therefore, it should be legalized. So, when this continued for a long time, so I spoke to the NGO and I said that, can I get my students here in Kamathipura? They said, yes, but don't bring the whole class. 4 5 students at a time. I said, fine. And even in the third year, we have a smaller number, 25 of them. I mean, many more want to do it, but I take a smaller number because then you can pay more attention. So in a batch of 5 6, we would go to Kamathipura. I used to actually take them inside those houses where these women are doing prostitution.
Oh.
All right. When they saw the conditions of the place, then their thought process started changing. That no, this is purely exploitation. This under no circumstances can be called a profession. You go, it's a small dingy room. There are 2 dirty cots in between a very dirty curtain, maybe of 2 3 saris hanging. Okay, there will be a small table and a cupboard, and that's it. That's where they live. That's where they are doing their profession. And very often, they have young children. Those children are either under the bed or they are inside the cupboards. Okay? Very dingy, dirty place. When they saw the area, the vicinity, and the kind of work, then they would say, no, ma'am, you have a point. This under no circumstances can be called a profession. And I always tell them that, many people say that no, sex work should be a profession. Let the woman make a choice. Or you say, oh, a woman became a prostitute or a sex worker out of her own choice. I said, choice. What is the meaning of choice? You have the choice of becoming a teacher, a doctor, a politician, an activist, and a prostitute. And you say, I want to be a prostitute. That's a choice. These women don't have a choice. They are forced into it. They're compelled to be in that situation. How can you call it a choice? And how can something like this be called a profession? Okay? So when then, they actually go and see it, that makes an impact. That helps them form their opinion. So similarly, you talk about tribal areas. So I take them to Uttarakhand, the area where I did my PhD. Then we talk about Article 370 and Article 35A in Jammu Kashmir, where it completely violated the rights of women. And so I take them, I make them meet the communities. They write their dissertation, so they write it on the Kashmiri Pandits who have suffered exodus. They write it on the Dalits whose rights have been violated because of Article 35A. They meet the women who, be it a Hindu, Muslim, or Hindu woman or a Muslim woman, Because of Article 35A, they were not allowed to even marry a man they like. The criteria is he must have that PRC, permanent residence certificate. So when they go and they meet, again, the Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir, that territory in 1947, which was illegally occupied by Pakistan, and the people who escaped from there, most of them have settled in Jammu, Chandigarh, Delhi. So Jammu is the largest chunk. So I take my students there, they interview them, they one-on-one talk. It's a lot of learning for them, and they get so shocked that something like this has happened and we have never even heard about it. So then they write dissertations on it. So I personally have only one satisfaction in that entire exercise. I mean, I'm going to those places again and again and again, and I tell them that, see, I'm giving you a part of my life because this is the vacation time. This is my time, and I'm deciding that I am going to spend this time with you, traveling to these remote areas and give you that experience. You can get everything back, you can never get the time back. So respect that hard work that I'm putting in. I'm giving you part of my life. Come out with a meaningful, dissertation, a meaningful learning.
Mhm.
So far, it has uh, helped them to, become more mature in their thinking, absorb more information. So for me, as an individual, the satisfaction is that out of 25, even if one person understands where I am coming from, and they actually implement what has been discussed, shared with them, my job is done
Mm.
as a teacher. As I said, you cannot change anybody,
Yeah.
but you can present the opportunities whereby they can make a conscious choice and take it forward. So experiential learning, that's something which from last year I've started another area, Gadchiroli in Maharashtra. Gadchiroli is famous for the Naxals. And everybody says, oh my God, Gadchiroli, very dangerous, Gadchiroli. But it's the same place where we have Baba Amte's ashrams where he worked for the lepers. Okay, so I take them in groups and they write their dissertation. We go to the center Anandvan
Mm.
where Baba Amte started his entire journey of working for the leprosy patients. Then we go to Hemalkasa, another interior remote village of tribals where his younger son is handling, he's working on education and healthcare. Then we go to Search in Gadchiroli, Dr. Abhay Bang and Rani Bang. Dr. Abhay Bang, a pediatrician, Rani Bang, a gynecologist. The duo set up a hospital and they are giving wonderful healthcare service to the tribals in that remote area. Visiting these places and meeting these people is a life-changing experience for my students. And when they come and they tell me, my job is done, that is what gives me the satisfaction of being a teacher. So that's what I do. So not activism,
Yeah.
but telling them that, okay, these are the possibilities. Choose what you want to do.
This should be implemented in all schools actually.
Actually visit to places like Anandvan, Search.
Mhm.
It should be made compulsory.
Yeah, definitely.
It's phenomenal work what these people are doing without any government help, any support. They had the conviction. They felt strongly about it and they started it. And then people, who are with their goodwill, they come and they join. Very often people say that I cannot do it, but I want to give you the money to continue this good work. And that's how they are sustaining. And it's a wonderful model. So I feel that no, this should be done. And this also I stumbled upon by chance. There is something called MSFDA, Maharashtra State's Faculty Development Authority. I mean that's a setup recently started by Maharashtra government, and they keep organizing different training programs for the teachers. So last year in the month of July, they had organized this Tribal Pride Journey, the program, 5-day program called Tribal Pride Journey, and they said we'll be going to Gadchiroli. Now, I had no clue, but Gadchiroli was the one which was fascinating because even for me, like anybody else, Naxalism and tribal area and all, and tribal rights is a subject of my interest. So thankfully, our principal, he's all open to these ideas. You know, you learn something new, you do something new. So he granted us permission. Three of our teachers, we went for that training program. There were other teachers also from different colleges of Maharashtra. For the first time, I went to Baba Amte's ashram and I went to search and all these places. And I was so impressed that when the program ended after 5 days, I told the program coordinator from MSFDA that I am going to bring my students and I'm going to make it an annual exercise. And she said, if you do it, wonderful. That is what we want, the teachers to learn and then take it further. When I came back, I told my principal, I said, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And my TY students, third year
Yeah.
students, they write dissertations and I want to take them there. He said, why not? Any learning experience for our students, exposure, it's good. So I'm really thankful to my principal also. I know that's the beauty of our college. I mean, more than 150-year-old institution, we are not the best for nothing.
Mhm.
It is this open-mindedness in that learning, teaching process, which gives us the freedom, to do something different outside the classroom. So then I took my students and it was wonderful and I'm going to do it every. So I think as a teacher, it's my duty to give the best, not only inside the classroom, but
Definitely,
outside also.
definitely, definitely. And you spoke about tribal rights
Yeah,
being your, main one of your main topics.
subject of interest.
Yes,
Yes.
subject of interest. So could you dive more into that and the what work you've done with tribal rights in Uttarakhand?
Uh, See, there is this Indo-Tibetan border region
Mm-hmm.
in Uttarakhand, um, in Chamoli district, and I used to go there for trek. I have trekked practically whole of Uttarakhand. I love doing. I don't like climbing the mountains. I don't like that. Oh, snow-clad mountains you climb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. To many people, like trekking doesn't make sense. It's each one's interest. I love trekking. I love being in the midst of a forest, going to the meadows, spending the night under the sky and absorbing the nature. So I used to go there with my cousin. He lives in Dehradun, my maternal uncle's son. So we used to go for trekking every year, and we used to visit this place also. The village is called Lata in the Indo-Tibetan border region, and Niti Valley. And again and again and again, I met them, and I realized that they had very basic issues of their traditional forest rights getting curbed because of the conservation policies of the government. Okay, so I was planning to do my PhD any which way. So then I thought that why not do a PhD on this topic whereby you are documenting something where the outcome may help the community in the long run. It
Mm-hmm.
may help in policy making. It may help in re getting them their traditional forest rights. So that's how my journey working with regard to the tribal rights began. And then I did my PhD on the same topic. The crux of it was the conflict between the traditional rights of the tribals and the conservation and development policies in NDBR, Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve region in Uttarakhand,
Mm-hmm.
Chamoli district, Uttarakhand. And then taking this issue up in different seminars, writing papers about it. I've written many research papers which talk about the community, the Bhotiyas, okay, the Bhotiya women
Mm-hmm.
and the community and their struggle. So these are all academic research papers.
Yeah.
So I have presented many papers, I have written many papers, published them, focusing on this particular tribal right issue. And there are many such tribal belts because see the tribals are always living in midst of the forest or in the periphery of
Yeah.
the forest or natural
Surrounding it.
resources. Yes. So whenever you talk about conservation, the first thing they do is they curb the tribal rights. Whenever you're talking about development, you curb the tribal rights. And that's not a very healthy practice. They are our people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So they need to be given the same space.
Yeah.
And I understand that making a hydro project, for example, is important. Mining is important. But the law says that you need to conduct a meeting with the community They should be on the same page as you. Your rehabilitation should be effective. Your compensation should be effective. Unfortunately, because they are smaller in number, they're not very well educated, they don't have the political strings to pull, so they are pushed, everywhere. They're pushed away and they're marginalized completely. So that is it. From a fun activity, it became a serious academic activity for them. So that's about the tribal issue. Have good teachers.
Yeah.
That's very important because you really touch lives. I remember once in the college they were doing a survey kind of thing, and the topic was they how can you make Xavier's a brand, and sell it better in the market. So I wrote my feedback that I am a teacher and I touch lives. It cannot be a market brand. They may not have liked it, but I said it because that's what I believe. Because when you are into branding, then there is no end to it. You will go topsy turvy just to because brand is benefit. Profit. Yeah. It's all profit oriented, and the minute you're into that brand business, it's profit,
Yeah.
and that's so much against your Jesuit principles. Fundamental, it is completely opposite your Jesuit principles. Anyway, you cannot resist it for a long time because the whole world is going that way. But this is who I am. What I am talking, I tell everyone that there is no other face of me. Right? I've started a new thing in the class. When students talk about many things, man, ma'am, you did this, you are a, इसने ये बोला, उसने वो बोला, ma'am, you said something, this is savage, and I'm very straightforward, no sugarcoating, straightforward. At that moment, you feel little, the shock of it, but
You're
then,
taken aback.
yeah, but then you accept it and you appreciate that, ठीक है, whatever is there, it's there. So I always tell them, I am what I am. That's all that I am. Courtesy Popeye the Sailor, endorsed by Pratibha Naitthani. This is who I am. You like it, good for you. You don't like it, very good for you. Actually, all of them say, I'm so scared of you, and I don't know why. Everybody says, I'm so scared of you. I said, if you were scared of me, you would not be doing what you're doing. So stop telling a lie. I'm scared of you. So one thing they say, no, we were intimidated. And intimidated about what? नाखून मारा क्या? सींग है क्या? So I think it's their way of playing little softy. Yeah, but some of them really appreciate what I am doing. Some of them think that no, it's only an attention-seeking behavior. See, students also come from different mindsets. Yeah, and they do judge you, which is not a very good thing. I'm not judging you. You are my student, and that's enough for me. I don't see beyond it. Okay, but they judge you. They judge you every single day. So I very often tell my colleagues also that we perform every day and we don't have retakes. Once you stand on that platform, what you have said, you have said. So that's why I tell them that the more I am in my natural self, the better for me. Otherwise, it will be a lot of stress. So जैसे हूँ वैसे हूँ ऐसे ही क्लास में भी बोलती हूँ. This is how I talk in the class also. I crack a lot of jokes. I love that when all of us together are laughing. So yeah, and pun intended. A lot of pun intended in my talking. That's why my students say, "Ma'am, savage. This was savage, but this is what it is." So, and then on top of it, my subject is such. It keeps you very entertained and engaged. You never get bored of politics. So, whether it is local, regional, national, international, it's very interesting. And I think that's very important. Nothing else is important. And that's why even when they, in the final year, when they are departing, the last lecture, I always tell them one thing. Be a good human being, everything will fall in place. That's very important. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. You think about it. And if you are good, and if everybody around you is good, everything is fine.
One 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 field that you've gone in is music.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
I myself had forgotten about it.
You are a folk singer.
Yeah.
This is so impressive. I read about you and I I saw that you were a singer, and I was like, what? Like, professor, so social activist, singer, folk singer that too. You sang the state song for
Yeah, so
the
that
Udaipur
was,
royal family.
yes.
Could you share that experience? I mean, it's so surreal.
See, uh, uh, I'm a trained Hindustani classical singer,
Oh, wow.
and this was way back in 1988, 89.
My God.
I was studying in college at that time, and there was some dance program, Rajasthani Rajwadi Ghumar
Yes.
on Doordarshan.
Okay.
At that time, it was only Doordarshan. All
Yeah,
these
yeah,
private channels
we
and
learned
nothing was
about
there.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Diane sir told us everything about
correct.
Doordarshan.
So we saw that program. Me and my older sister, the one who just left.
Mm.
So we saw it and we were so fascinated the way those girls were dancing and so elegant and complete royalty and a lot of dignity in their body postures and the
Mm.
body movement and the folk artists singing and all. So we wanted to find out that who was this person who taught them and what exactly is there. And coincidentally, her son, she was a princess from Kishangarh,
Oh,
married in Santarampur,
okay.
Govardhan Kumari ji. So from the royal family, and her son was my friend in college, which I never knew because he never mentioned that he's from a royal family. He was like any other boy, in the college area. So I told him, I knew that he's from Rajasthan. So I told him, last night I saw such a beautiful performance and it was fascinating and mesmerizing. And I want to find out who this person is. So he heard me patiently, and then he said, "That's my mama's group." I said, "Oh my God, I want to meet her." And my older sister had attended a music seminar in NCPA,
Mm-hmm.
and Rajmata Saab, I mean, Govardhan Kumari ji was there. So she met her. So from both the sides, finally, I could go and me and my sister could go and meet her. And both of us wanted to learn the dance. Here you can see the
Yes,
photographs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of the
Both of us
Ghumar group,
wanted
yeah?
to, yes. And they were going to perform in Jaipur, and the lady who was singing for the television Doordarshan program, she was, I think, 62 or something. She got a massive heart attack and she passed away.
Oh,
And they had a performance coming up in Jaipur. So she said that fine, you learn the dance, but does any one of you sing? Because we want somebody to sing for us. So I said, yes, I do sing. So she said, ठीक है, for this performance you sing
mm-hmm.
and then you start learning the dance. So that was my beginning as a singer, and then I always remained a singer only. So beautiful. This is something I'm really blessed to have come across Radhada Saab. You can see the photograph there. That's where she is.
Oh, yes.
This is her photograph, the black and white.
Ah.
That's her. She's dancing. That's my sister.
Oh, wow.
So my sister, we have an academy now. She's no more. Radha Saab is no more.
Oh.
So we have that Gangor Ghumar Dance Academy, and my sister teaches the dance. And we do have other girls also from the academy who teach. And I think how many years ago? 3 years ago, that Padmavat film of Sanjay
Yeah,
Leela
yeah, yes.
Bhansali. So she taught Ghumar dance to
She
Deepika.
choreographed it.
Yes.
Yes.
So she's got that. You can see the Filmfare Award, and she got the National Award
Oh,
for
yeah, Ryan sir
choreography.
mentioned this. Yes.
Yes, yes. That's her photo with Sanjay Leela Bhansali. So that was a blessing, a beautiful art form
Mm.
which we got to learn for free. She never charged any fees, nothing. So we feel it's our moral responsibility to carry on the legacy. So that's how. So I've been to some around 27 different countries.
16 nations. That's what I read.
16 nations we performed,
Yeah.
yeah, and others
You've
is
been a
my,
representative for the Ghumar group.
yes,
Yeah.
and so all the 27 countries I have traveled, 16 countries are purely because of this art form that we have learned and representing India and Indian culture. So I do have a music album. Unfortunately, I didn't think about it very commercially because Rajmata Saab never thought about it commercially. But I do have a music album. I'll just share it with you,
Yeah.
just sunne ke liye,
Yeah, yeah.
that how the music is
Yeah,
and how the
definitely.
singing is. But that's, and I'm not from Rajasthan. We are from Uttarakhand.
Mm.
I mean, my family hails from Uttarakhand. We are born and brought up here. So it was something very new, special, different, and I'm really grateful to God and to Rajmata Saab. to have taught this and given us this opportunity, and having the faith
Mm-hmm.
that okay, they will be able to carry on the legacy.
Definitely, because this was so interesting. I just read it now. Like singer,
Yeah.
wow. So I was thinking because one of your subjects of interest was tribal rights and marginalized communities. Because you go around in representing this group, does it like like pay off like like to the marginalized communities that you're representing them in like such a way in like the field of
The
music, the
music,
dance? Yeah,
it's a complete contrast. This is dance of royalties,
yeah, yeah.
and that's the marginalized section.
Marginal section. But
To
it's like
expose.
it's like the dance party is from Rajasthani, like
Yeah,
groups, right?
yeah.
So does it like kind of have a relation with it?
No, 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 no. It's not directly connected with the
Mm-hmm.
tribal rights or the
No, not
marginalized
tribal rights,
community.
but like the communities that you're representing.
Hmm.
Is it related to
No,
that?
when we are performing this, we are performing the royalty. We are
Mm.
performing uh, uh, the royal
The actual,
ghumar,
yeah.
what the ranis and maharanis used to
Uh-huh.
dance in the weddings. And even today, in the YouTube and Insta, you will find still in the royal families, when a girl gets married and goes to her in-laws' house, the first thing she has to do is perform a dance.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful way. I mean, no men will be there,
Mm.
only the women. It's a beautiful way of ice breaking
Yeah.
because you can't dance in front of everyone. So when you are actually dancing and then everybody joins, first she performs and then the others also join in.
Okay.
I think it's a very good way of creating a bond, ice
Mm.
breaking and bonding because it's so much of fun singing and dancing.
So this is
And
like you representing India's culture, Rajasthan
yes,
culture, definitely.
absolutely. And many songs which we sing, now nobody sings them in Rajasthan also.
Oh.
There are some 500-year-old songs and many compositions which are by women.
Mm.
And in Rajasthan, mostly, predominantly, they have two types of singing. One is what we call virah,
Mm.
songs of separation. Because most of the times the men are out, in the battlefield,
Mm. And then the women
or
are waiting.
yeah, yeah, or dances of celebrations. So, festivities.
Mm-hmm.
And Rajasthan, I think it is one of the most colorful state of our country.
Definitely.
Beautiful, and everywhere there is so much of culture, so much of history,
Mm.
so much of art. So I am just fascinated by that whole thing. And as I said, that I'm really lucky to have come across. Again, this is by default,
Mm-hmm.
and it just came my way, and I think I grabbed that opportunity.
I mean,
But it's beautiful experience.
amazing. Like it was, like I keep saying, it was surreal to like have that, like read that sentence, like oh, she's a singer,
Yeah.
and I wanted to speak all of this life work, your career, your work as a professor, your work in advocating for media rights and for tribal rights. If you could put it in one word, what word would it be and why? Just one word.
I mean, the whole
The
thing.
whole. If you distill it in one word, which one would it be? Think
Nobody
about
has
it.
ever asked me this question. Uh, what would I put it as? If I talk from my side,
Mm-hmm.
it's about making life meaningful.
Meaningful.
Yeah, meaningful.
Meaningful would be
Yeah,
the word.
yeah. And if I have to look at it from as an outsider, it's about positive change in the society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say I would put your whole like career is courageous.
Wow.
Courageous.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
just one woman going against big companies and doing so much in so many fields. I mean, it's amazing and it's
No, but I
courageous.
told you, in all honesty, nobody took me seriously. And that allowed me to move further. If right in the beginning they would have taken me seriously, it would be much more challenging,
Mm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful to the media people also who wrote against me because it created more curiosity in the minds of people that who's this one person who, despite all this discouragement and all this bashing up, and still she's standing up. So I'm thankful to the media also for writing all those bad things they wrote
Mm.
about me or they condemn me or criticize me. I'm happy. It's a huge learning for me as an individual. And as I said that I looked at the positive side of it. So nothing to regret about.
So one question is that if you could collaborate with any historical figure, any Indian, international, global, whatever, any historical figure on any kind of, social work, who would it be? And what
My
social
God,
work?
this girl has come up with such complicated, challenging questions. Nobody has ever asked me all this. Who would I never thought about it. Who would I associate with? I really never thought about it. Because see, when I talk about history, I look at it very politically.
Hmm.
Because that's part of my academic
Academic,
interest.
yeah.
That's part of my professional interest.
Hmm.
So I
But
never
have you
thought,
gone through your like those syllabus that you teach the students and been like, I would have done much more in this, like, particular cause or issue?
oh, if you ask me, I've never told this to my students, but when I teach about them, every time I say, if I was there, I would have also done the same thing. I, be it anyone, all of them, the historical figures we are talking about, be it the social reformers,
Hmm.
be it the ones who made political change, be it the freedom fighters. When I read about them, when I look at their thinking, I feel if I was there, I would have done the same thing.
Hmm.
Because what were they wanting at the end of it? Positive change.
Positive change.
That's what, whether it is political or social, whether it is freedom fighting or fighting against caste, or fighting for the rights of women, or fighting against communal issues.
Hmm.
It's all about positive change. So I think I would have done the same thing. So I cannot pinpoint that this is the one person who I find very convincing.
Hmm.
I find all of them very meaningful. Yeah.
Final question.
Okay.
Final question. Pratibha Naitthani's legacy.
Huh.
What would you want the future generations or generations like me of high school students to take from it, from your legacy and what you've done?
Okay. The third very difficult ball. How do I answer this? Um what I expect, frankly speaking, I don't expect.
Hmm.
Because the minute you start expecting, then you want control. You want things to go your way. And then when it doesn't happen that way, you're disappointed. So I don't expect. But since you are asking this question, what do I expect the future generations, be it my students or someone like you, to take from my life? Definitely courage, what you said. It needs a lot of courage to stand up for what you believe in. I definitely want them to make a positive contribution in the society, whichever way. It could be as simple as giving good upbringing to your own children, because they are not only your children, they are part of the society.
Yeah.
You have to look at the larger picture. When you are giving good upbringing to your children, you are creating good citizens for the country. You are creating a good human being for the world. So that's the second thing. Making a positive contribution. If not change, a positive contribution. And thirdly, and most importantly for me, being a good human being. I hammer this again and again and again. That's very important. So they may not look at me, or people may not look at me as a very good human being, but I know what I am. I told you, I am what I am. That's all that I am. So having a positive mindset and setting up a goal, taking it to a logical conclusion. That's something which is very important. So that's what they can maybe take from my life or learn from my life, or, as I said, I don't expect, but if at all.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
And what a wonderful set of questions you came up
Thank
with.
you.
I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
I mean, I must have given zillions of interviews. Nobody has asked me these three questions, the last three. And I'm completely bold. Wow.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. I and the song.
My voice.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
I studied 5 years
In the department in Mumbai University also, and in St. Xavier's also. Yeah. Yeah.
so your family is like fully accredited.
Yeah, and in academics, all of us. So, so here this will give you an idea about, here we are with Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. We had, this is what, 1988, 89 in Mumbai. This is with Sanjay Leela Bhansali had come for one of our.
I'm very grateful for this. Thank
Great.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Wonderful.